Ladies and gentlemen, I accidentally made a hot dog boss. But before we get into that, there are a lot of other additions that I added to the game, so we'll actually go through those before getting into the... And in case you're new, this is basically a roguelike game about insects, and yes, I know that's a frog, where you can fight through waves of enemies and get stronger by getting different buffs and much more. Right now the game looks the way that it does because I'm basically trying to use prototypes to define the base game in order to see if the game is actually fun or not. And only when the base gameplay loop is good, then we can start with the art, the attacks, the animations, and all that will actually be improved. This unfortunately means that the game's gonna be using beam characters for a while, but on to the new additions. First things first, the new enemies I added last time were way too broken. The beetle enemy especially, where if he charged while already touching the wall, he basically gets stuck and does nothing. Very broken. All I had to do was give him a little wobble state once he actually touches the wall, and now that problem doesn't exist anymore. It does. The last enemy that needs a fix is the spider dude, whose whole gimmick is that if you're too close, then he'll basically run in the opposite direction. So I made it so that if you're too close to him, he can't actually attack you. And I also made it so that you can destroy his balls before they actually hit you, but hopefully they're balanced now. Next up, I gave the roach another arm just because the attack he had at the time just looked way too underwhelming, and it just didn't scream someone who can throw hands. Boom! Much better. Next up, I added some UI to show all of the buffs you've gotten from the Gamba shop, and I honestly think it looks pretty clean. The problem here, however, is that I added a red key that doesn't have any uses right now. Under it, we have the silver key that you can use to open the basic chest that gives you some stat increase buffs, but since this key is red, which means that the chest for it has to have something cool and tough buffs. It sounded a lot cooler in my head, but the concept here is that these red keys are super rare to get, and once you get one, it should change the gameplay experience as a whole, starting with a Yu-Gi-Oh reference in the form of Slifer the Sky Dragon. Please don't sue me for copyright. The effect here is that all your hits will deal an extra amount of damage onto the enemy and also spawn lightning. And the way I did it is pretty simple. Once the player deals damage to the enemy, we simply give them a reference to the script that holds all the tough buff details and all that, and it basically checks if we have a specific buff in order to execute its effect. If there's no buffs, then we continue with the normal damage amount like normal, and we return the damage that should be dealt to the opponent in this specific function right here. I'm not too sure if this is the best way to do it, but all I can say right now is this. It is what it is. It is what it is. So now we've got 5 tough buffs that you can get with each one that you do. We've got Thunder Force. I'm not even gonna try. A chance to double the damage that we deal. A SpongeBob reference with some pretty bad looking art. And finally, a farting frog. Nice. I do plan on adding more buffs in the future with ones that have different effects, and for the ones that I have in mind, we have these ones that are on the screen. If you have any other in mind, then do let me know down in the comments what they should be. But now we move on to a problem that has existed ever since we added 2 different kinds of keys. The normal key can be obtained by clearing a wave of enemies, but what about the red one? Exactly. Now it's unfortunately time to show off the disaster we saw in the beginning, which is a centipede boss. I know it doesn't look like a centipede, but that was basically the idea. It's supposed to be the first boss you ever face using the 3 different kinds of enemy attacks that exist, and he needs knives so that he can stab like the ants, maybe he puts them together and charges straight at the player like the beetle, and then he should be able to shoot out some balls like the spider. I have no idea what I was thinking. There's no way you'd face a boss that looks like that and even feel intimidated at all. He even looks like a hot dog. Now I ended up showing this to my friends and the natural reaction was this. And they also recommended that since the enemy is a centipede, why not just use procedural animations? Huh? If there was ever a final boss in my mind when it comes to making games, then this has to be it. Procedural animation is basically using maths and physics to make different aspects of something move, but I'm not even a real game dev, guys. I just got here. So I decided to give it a try and watch the tutorial on how to do it, but this doesn't actually look that bad, right guys? Right? I scrapped the whole thing. Now we're gonna be making an ant boss instead. First up, we give him a nice little spear, give him some attack animations, and voila! For the name itself, it's Fire Ant Igrin, because Igris from Solo Leveling and then that. Yeah. But listen to how it sounds in JP.
ヒアリ将軍イグリーン
I decided to give him some logic where he tries attacking 3 times in your direction, and then after the 3 attacks are done, then he backs off for 5 seconds. And in order to balance this movement, I have to give him the ability to counter the spider gent because you can basically deal damage while staying far from him, not taking damage while you're doing damage at the same time. Balance. Balance. Now let's recall. He chases you until he does 3 attacks and then backs away for 3 seconds. And now if you get too far out of his range, he'll throw spears at you, ensuring that the spider suffers. Now obviously it did take a couple of attempts to get it right the first time, like we had attempt number 1, 2, 3, 4. It took a lot. We finally made it through the hot dog centipede looking boss thing, and we basically have a sort of complete game. You can complete waves to get normal keys that help you get stronger, and every 10 waves that you do, you'll be met by Igrin himself. You get the red keys each time you defeat him, and yeah, that's basically the game. Now I do plan on adding skills in the future that you can randomly get, like for example, one that allows the roach to shoot fireballs from his fists, another that allows the frog to shoot Getsuga Tenshos from the sword, and for the spider we have nothing really. I don't like him. Let me know down in the comments if you have any tips or advice that you have towards the game. Make sure to join my Discord group so that you can try the playtest version for yourself. Huge shout out to God, of course, for helping me get this far, and thank you guys for all the support.